The cafe buzzed softly with the sound of steaming milk and hushed conversations. At a small corner table, Emily sat nervously, clutching her worn-out purse. She had agreed to a blind date arranged by her best friend, but now she questioned whether she belonged here at all. The cafe smelled of fresh coffee beans, but even the simple thought of ordering a drink made her heart sink. When the waiter approached, Emily looked down, her cheeks burning. I can't afford coffee," she whispered, her voice trembling with shame. The man sitting across from her, James, raised his eyes from the menu. He was tall, neatly dressed, and carried an aura of quiet confidence. A single dad who had faced his share of storms, James was not the kind of man who judged quickly. Instead of being surprised or put off, he smiled warmly and handed the menu back to the waiter. "Then we'll have 2 coffees, he said with a calm, gentle tone. "And don't worry, I've got it." Emily looked up in shock. She had expected awkwardness, maybe even pity, but his smile was genuine, as if her confession hadn't embarrassed her but had only made her more human. That small act of kindness broke down the wall she had built around her heart, and she allowed herself to breathe. As the conversation unfolded, James learned about Emily's struggles. She had lost her father years ago, and her mother had fallen sick soon after. With no stable job and bills piling up, Emily worked 2 part-time shifts to keep a roof over their heads. She wasn't looking for luxury, she was simply trying to survive. Coming here today was a risk, but deep down, she longed for someone who would see her, not her hardships. James listened carefully, his eyes softening as she spoke. He too carried scars from the past. Years ago, his wife had left him shortly after their daughter was born, unable to handle the weight of responsibility. For a long time, James buried himself in work, building his company from the ground up, but success always felt hollow when he came home to an empty house. His daughter, Lily, became his reason to keep going. And now, sitting across from Emily, he recognized something familiar: the same fight to keep going, the same quiet strength hidden behind tired eyes. The weeks that followed brought challenges. Emily often felt unworthy of his attention. She worried what people would say if they saw a wealthy CEO walking beside a girl who sometimes skipped meals to pay rent. And James, though successful, had his own battles. Balancing his demanding company, caring for his daughter, and opening his heart again was not easy. There were moments of doubt, moments when it seemed easier to walk away than face the judgment of the world. One evening, Emily broke down in tears. "You don't understand," she said. "People like me don't end up with people like you. I don't belong in your world." James gently took her hand, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "Emily, it's not about the world. It's about us. When I look at you, I don't see what you don't have. I see what you've given up for others. I see the courage it takes to keep moving when everything is against you. And that means more to me than money ever could." Slowly, Emily began to trust again. James introduced her to Lily, who quickly bonded with Emily, sensing her warmth and sincerity. For the first time in years, their little home was filled with laughter. Emily helped with homework, cooked simple meals that brought comfort, and reminded James that happiness wasn't built on wealth but on love shared around the table. The challenges didn't disappear overnight. Emily still worked part-time, and James still carried the weight of his company. But now, they carried their burdens together. They faced whispers, doubts, and the long road of healing from past wounds. Yet, every time Emily tried to pull away, James reminded her of that first day at the cafe. "You thought you couldn't afford coffee, he would say with a playful smile. But what you didn't know is that you gave me something I couldn't buy, hope. Months later, at the very same cafe, James reached across the table with a small velvet box in his hand. Emily's eyes filled with tears as he whispered, "I don't want a world of wealth without you in it. Marry me, Emily. Let us build a life where love is our richest treasure." Through her tears, she nodded, realizing that the girl who once couldn't afford coffee had found someone who saw beyond her struggles. Their story was not about money or status but about kindness, resilience, and the power of seeing someone's worth when the world overlooks them. And so, Emily, the poor girl who once sat ashamed in a cafe, and James, the single dad CEO who smiled through his own scars, built a new chapter together. A story that proved love isn't measured by what's in your wallet, but by what's in your heart.